So in our last time together, I tried to establish the concept or the idea that the first electrical power stations in the United States were located along the East Coast, exactly where the life-saving stations were. And if you recall, they were along the East Coast in Virginia, approximately 6 miles apart. So I'm going to pick it up from there, and as you remember, the title of the chapter in this book was Seamen's Salvation. Now, what book are we looking at? Virginia Beach, Jewel Resort of the Atlantic. So here's the general idea that was presented to the American people. There were lighthouses located along the coast, and no doubt the lighthouses were really truly lighthouses, seeking to provide light out into the ocean for any and all vessels to establish the land base for the captain of the ship and for navigation purposes. Now, what we are expected to believe is that ships were often in trouble and they needed to be aided by life-saving station crews. And that's where the hoaxing comes in. It's not so much with the lighthouses, but it's the life-saving station crews and the whole concept. So as you can see in this particular postcard, the idea is presented to the viewer that there are vessels out in the water that get into trouble and they need to be rescued. And of course the postcard will seal it in your mind that that's what happens. But I want you to just stop and think about that you are one of these members of this crew, and you are located along the coast right now. What are you doing? You're just sitting around and somebody looks out at the ocean and they can see how far can they see the sea? And somebody says, well, there's no ships in trouble right now. And so you go back to playing cards. Now, how in the world do any of them know that there's even a ship in trouble? The wireless communication is not in place yet. There's no electrical means of transmitting information from ship to shore. There's no way to know anything except by eyesight. So you've got these so-called life-saving stations with these crew members who are just simply sitting around all day long doing nothing, right or wrong. Well, actually what will happen is that the lighthouses will get replaced. And that's what I want to talk about next. The replacement of the lighthouses. In 1879, Congress will authorize this lighthouse here to be made, the one in the foreground. That lighthouse has cast iron plates on it. Cast iron plates. Now you should be suspicious, because there's really no need for cast iron in a lighthouse. A simple stone structure is sufficient, but they will authorize cast iron plating for this particular lighthouse in the year 1879. So I'm going to take a look at a timeline for you. Okay, so 1878, Congress creates the Life Saving Service, which basically is the creation of electrical power plants and electrical power plant staff. Now in 1878, the head and the shoulders of the Statue of Liberty are completed in Paris. And in 1886, the Statue of Liberty is completed. In other words, there's now an electrical harvesting device in New York City. But these other electrical harvesting devices have already been in operation. And again, the 1879 is that Congress will authorize a lighthouse built with iron plates backed by masonry walls. So why do you go to the extra expense of getting cast iron put on an erectile structure when simple bricks could do the job and be long-lasting? Why? And I'll tell you why. Because it's going to draw and pull in, guess what? Electricity. So this is an electrical harvesting device in place. Now, the so-called life-saving crew, oh, you know, the ones that are sitting around just looking out over the water with their binoculars and saying, oh my, I hope we see a ship in trouble so we can all get in our rowboat and row out to it very quickly and help those in peril on the sea. By the way, I hope you see what I'm saying. Now, the cast iron on that particular lighthouse is a conductor of electricity. And keep in mind the other two major architectural structures for the harvesting of electricity are the Statue of Liberty and the Eiffel Tower. So we're going to ask a question about getting electricity. And this is a web page where I just simply asked a question about iron conducting electricity. And this particular site will give you, well, they have 13 listed, but I don't know that you can see all 13. What are the best conductors of electricity? Well, I want you to take a look at number 2. Okay, number 2. Copper. Now guess what the metal composition is of the Statue of Liberty? Copper. And that's even better than gold, according to this website. Now where is iron? About number 9. So really the best electrical harvesting device in the United States will be the one that we call Lady Liberty. We should call the statue Lady Electricity, the electrified lady. Because you see, the electricity is brought down. And there's even a metal base here. So it sort of becomes like a battery. Actually, it's a battery. And I believe that nearby there's a place called Battery Park. And I think that was given that terminology like for military, the battery. But actually it's a literal battery area. And it is tied into the electrical harvesting device that we know as the Statue of Liberty. Now keep in mind that Bartoli and Eiffel are Masons. And keep in mind that the same one who designed the interior structure for the Eiffel Tower, namely Gustave Eiffel, will design and implement the interior structure for Lady Liberty. So this statue's had an enormous amount of association with freedom and immigrants and stuff like that. You've got to just get rid of that in your brain. Okay? It was all about electricity. It was all about power. Power coming to United States. And where did the power really start with? Well, guess what? We go back to that's right, the Siemens Salvation, the life-saving stations. They were just a hoax. And of course they'll give you all kinds of BS about how many lives they saved and everything. Once again, the false witness of death, the false witness of saving people from death. It was all about getting electricity and becoming the masters over electricity, and then requiring businesses and individuals pay for something that ultimately is just simply free because it's in the air, namely electricity. So I think I'll end this with not about the Siemens salvation, but about the wonderful salvation that comes to us through Christ the Lord. That Christ paid his all and gave us salvation from the power of death and the power of sin. And once again, as always, I'd like to thank you for watching this video and any other videos I've created. Thank you. End of video.